Tonight on the Right Angle Podcast, outfielder for the Detroit Tigers, Parker Meadows. Tell us just a little bit about your baseball background.
Okay. Yeah. Growing up, I was always fast, but I was always that scrawny kid. But didn't really feel into my body until a couple of years ago, honestly. But yeah, I would say the root of my game is definitely speed. Try to change the game, whether it's trying to beat out a ground ball to first base or swipe a bag or make good plays in the outfield. But yeah, I would say the foundation is definitely speed. But like I said earlier, didn't really grow into my body until a couple of years ago. One off season, started to put on weight and had the power, and it's only up from there.
Yeah, I mean your versatility, I think, to me, is what stands out about your game. Like, it's not just speed, it's not just your finesse. It's like, no, you actually have power now. You can actually hit home runs when you need to. You can also get on base easily. You can steal bases. I mean, you're racking up the stats this year, especially towards the end of the season, which was very cool to see because we talked about this. We've been training together now for 6 years, which is crazy because, I thought it was more like 4 years. Time flies by.
It could be 10. I know,
right? I had to actually go back in the files today and look. Same thing with us, too. We've known each other.
It feels like 20.
I know.
Yeah, 8 and a half, it feels like 20.
Nice. But yeah, so it's been 6 years. I was telling you earlier, I went back to the files today just to kind of look, and you were a little bit under 200 pounds. You were like 15% body fat, and now you're, fluctuating between 210 and 215. About 11 or 12% body fat. We're trying to get you a little bit lower this year to even enhance your speed even more. So, hopefully 10% body fat, roughly 220. So I think it's been pretty big but consistent transformation with your body. It's not like all of a sudden we were focused on trying to get you to gain 30 pounds in one season because, like you said, speed is big for you. We can't just have you putting on a ton of weight all of a sudden and have your speed and power sacrificed for that.
Right.
So I think it's been smart how we've done it. We've been focusing on diet a good amount this season. You've been pretty locked in with that as well. But I want to dive a little bit more into the training. Now, for people who aren't as familiar with your story, you kind of emulated your brother growing up because he came ahead of you. He was, 2-3 years older?
No, more. No, he's almost 5 years older than me. Yeah,
okay.
So we never got to spend like high school together, which sucked.
Austin Meadows. So.
Yeah. But growing up, like I said, was always a scrawny kid. But I would say I'll give a little bit about, how my career started. I was drafted in 2018, and then, in high school, I never really took weight training and my diet very serious, and, the reality check kind of hit me really quick. Pulled my hamstring that my second career professional baseball game, and then
this was in
20.
Was this
rookie ball? Yeah, in the hot Florida heat.
And for those of you who aren't familiar, it's rookie ball, 1A, 2A, 3A majors, right? So this is a very extensive process. It doesn't just happen overnight. But keep going.
Yeah. So when you get drafted, if you're out of high school, they send you straight to rookie ball to rot in the Florida heat. But I got hurt my second professional game, diving for a ball, popped my hamstring. Did about a month of rehab of that, and then came back and then started having back spasms. So was just kind of all out of whack. So then,
now this was the same time I believe your brother was training with me. I believe it was the same year.
Right.
And he kept telling me, I remember he's like, dude, we got to get Parker over here. And I was just, I don't like to push for any athlete to train with me, so I was just kind of letting him do the work. So
I remember that whole process. I think I trained with him a couple of times at different gyms. So we were both kind of in the same boat of searching for a trainer, an off-season trainer, and then luckily he found you, and I started coming to you. And I was like, God, this guy does some weird stuff, but no, man, it works, and knock on wood. Ever since then, I've for the most part, I've been pretty healthy, fairly healthy. So credit to you.
My face on the most wanted list. You're like, hey, this guy's familiar. That's funny. Okay, yeah, no, that's good. I think the background was important, but I think it's also important for people to see that you were pretty injury prone early on in your career, and I would say now the injuries have been few and far between. It's almost non-existent with the exception of few very small fluky things, but I mean, you're playing a lot of games. The volume they have you go through, it's pretty high, and you're able to withstand it. Your body's pretty strong, pretty adaptable. It's I would say somewhat bulletproof now. So I think the training, I mean, I've just seen the transformation, not just you physically, like in terms of size and just your physique changing, but even just what you're able to do in the weight room, and seeing your motor control, your stability, your power, your ability to control your body. I mean, you've even seen, you watch some of his sessions sometimes and see some of the stuff he's doing now compared to what he was doing like 3 or 4 years ago.
He just keeps getting taller.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the posture. I'm telling you, because unless you have gotten taller, you're 24, 25 now.
25, man.
Yeah, I don't think you actually did get taller, but I'm telling you, every one of my clients they keep saying that you look taller.
Dude, I'll be 8 foot
in posture.
In 5 years, I'll be 8 feet tall.
Yeah, I know you started off when we first began training. You were 5'8", 140. I'm just kidding.
A lot of pull-ups.
Exactly, we elongated your spine.
Yeah.
But, want to kind of segue a little bit more now into the specifics of the training, because my audience, that's what they focus on. Everybody loves baseball, they love sports, but people come to this channel to find out more about the training and how it can have an impact on their body. So I want to dive deeper into this. There's this trend in the fitness industry. You may or may not be familiar with this. It's kind of this corrective exercise trend. Okay, and basically what it means is that if someone goes to a trainer or a strength coach and they exhibit or demonstrate different compensation patterns, different imbalances, say it's like their knees are caving in, or they have flat feet, kind of like what you had, what you were dealing with. They have poor posture. One side they favor, they shift to that. They'll give them all these different corrective exercises, all these unique variations of movements and drills, and instead of, in my opinion, what's more effective is just focusing on the foundational movements, which is what we did with you. And you did have various compensation patterns. Like we said, you kind of had flat feet or fallen arches. Your toes were very crowded. I mean, we had to work on spreading the toes, and you just getting better at firing your feet during the workouts. You had some forward head tilt. Your shoulders were, high and rounded over, a little bit elevated. Low back arch, hips and feet kind of externally rotated. Now, again, these were all relatively minor. It's not like someone look at you and be like, this is abnormal. Pretty normal, minor things, but those add up, especially for pro athletes. So talk about kind of how we addressed that. Like, we didn't really do anything that fancy, right? I mean, it was...
No, I mean, I think it really only took a couple of days of training and really focusing on my form.
Yep. Well, I think, and what you're saying is, like, it took a few days to get that process underway. It's not like we had to wait months to see progress. The progress started almost even the first workout. It's
exactly,
wow, the arches started to pop up.
Yeah, and I just remember like the first couple of exercises where I would like leave the gym and be like, instead of walking, like limping out of the gym, like just getting absolutely destroyed and beat up, I actually like left the gym feeling really good, and I was like, oh, okay, like all this stuff actually makes sense.
For sure. I mean, we always talk about this, that exercise training, strength training, as intense as you can make it, which we can go intense, and we do go intense, it needs to be therapeutic, right? If it's not therapeutic, I mean, you've had to deal with this as with your football career in college, like if it wasn't therapeutic.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it's a fantastic point you bring up. And what so many people do is they go through the stuff where they do like a squat, for example,
right,
and it hurts, and then they veer away from it, and they go do all these other unique, crazy variations,
corrective exercises
to help them with that. When in reality, the corrective exercise is fixing a basic movement pattern like the squat.
Exactly.
Then you can feel better.
Exactly.
Right.
Have therapeutic, benefits, and then you can go into the other stuff from there. But so many people miss that and miss out on benefits. And then also, like you said, I think this was a very good point. Just from a time efficiency standpoint, you're going to start seeing the benefits from the stuff immediately.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing those, variations, and you can take a month to maybe feel some benefit. Whereas if we're doing the training, we're doing it like we're doing it, we're locking it in, you can feel the benefit 5 minutes into your first session.
Yeah, and I think early when we started this year, I got back home and I was like, I remember telling Joel, like, man, like my bed is like hard, like I haven't been sleeping good, and my back's just been killing me, man. And I'm like, I don't think it's anything we're doing in here, but it turned out it was.
We talked about this literally last night in the office. So let's jump into that, because that's a good topic. whenever anyone, including myself, whenever there's any symptoms in anyone's body that manifests itself in any unusual or odd way, whether it's, hey, my mattress is throwing my back off, I wake up with a sore shoulder, or the way my car seat is positioned, it's hurting my hip. You hear a lot of people mention these things, and I'm not denying that. I think there is some legitimacy to that. But there's this topic you'll hear some strength coaches and practitioners talk about. It's called living on the edge. I know it sounds like kind of cliche. It's living on the edge physiologically. We discussed this, and what that means is that if your body is off, or if you have compensation patterns, if you have various types of dysfunction, your body is close to being pushed over this physiological edge where it doesn't take much, kind of that final straw, to push it over where you start to feel some major symptoms. So it's like, okay, you told me your low back's hurting. You're like, oh, it must be the mattress. I'm like, I don't think so. It's got to be something we're doing, something small. Maybe I can barely can't see it, or maybe we need to dive a little deeper into your form, which it turns out that's exactly what it was. But if your body mechanics are off, which always goes back to the weight room, right? It always goes back to how you're training, it goes back to your movement mechanics. If it's off even a little bit, it's going to manifest itself and show up in all other areas of life, including your sitting, including sleeping, including driving the car. And that's what happened with you. And all it was, it's not like your form was that off. It was minuscule, but it came back down to your posture, came down to your core. You weren't setting it tightly enough, and I'm talking like you were 95% locked in, but it needed to be 100%.
Right.
It couldn't be, and we talk about this all the time. Our bodies, both you and me, we're a little bit more sensitive than say you are. I would say we're extremely sensitive in terms of things get off. I would say you're more moderately sensitive in that if things get off, you don't have a catastrophic injury or a career or season-ending injury, but you start to feel pain, discomfort pretty immediately. And I think that's what was going on, because what happened after that one session, you told me that, we dove deeper into your mechanics, your posture. Activation. You started doing activation on your own. Literally 24 hours later, like, man.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, like you feel good. You feel great.
Yeah.
No more back pain. So this is what I think a lot of people don't realize is, like, when you start moving correctly, you start moving your way the way that God intended our bodies to move under high load scenarios, and the way He created us, good things happen. The body starts to heal itself, it starts to fix itself, and it feels good. It literally brings restoration. This goes back to the, our 90-degree principle that we use a lot. And because with the 90-degree thing, you don't have to sacrifice posture. It actually requires good posture. When you go past 90 degrees, you have to lose that core stiffness. You have to lose your posture alignment. Your feet have to rotate out. And as a tall athlete, you're 6'6", or 6'5", 6'6". You can really see those things happen on your body when you go even a little bit too deep. And so for you, it's like even more critical than shorter athletes, that like your form has to be locked in.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit today. When I told you, without you telling me, I said, when I feel my my hips push forward a little bit, my feet tend to spread out.
Yeah, they tend to rotate out.
They tend to rotate out.
Yeah, when when your pelvis anteriorly rotates and your low back overarches and your core gets loose, your hips rotate out, externally rotate, and toes go out, which is a very common thing we see on, guess what exercise? Squats, right? That is what is considered the kind of gold standard squat position.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, that's the gold standard position that destroys people's bodies.
Right.
It's probably the most unathletic position you can assume, yet in all our training programs that we see in high school and college and pro ball, it's like this is the position that they're advocating for squats. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
None. But yeah, it was a good observation you made, because I don't even think I ever described it that specifically to you in terms of what was going on with your hips, but you tuned into that right away just when we were doing our speed work today. Like you were walking back, and we always work on your walking mechanics as your active recovery between sets. And you just mentioned that to me. You're like, man, I can tell when my core is tight and engaged, posture stays locked in, feet are locked in. They stay straight. You don't rotate out. Things aren't loose. And that was a good. I feel like you're just getting better to it, like your body awareness.
Yeah,
I
100%.
think that just comes with time. I mean, we see this a lot, like with the athletes. Their level of awareness, the longer they train, the more they lock in their movement. It's not just they lock in their movement. Their proprioception gets better, right?
I mean, you just said it a couple of times. I think it was fine tuning. I think that's what you're saying. But either way, it's like just from knowing you as well, and then when you work with Joel and stuff, you're able to fine tune yourself better.
Yeah, I think
that's very, very key.
Yeah, I think working with him so long, it's like if I do one squat and it feels off, like I know why it feels off, right? And you've been really good at, you notice these things. I mean, within a split second, which is pretty unbelievable. With all your clients, I feel like
I do notice it, but I also don't, because the more advanced an athlete gets, the more subtle deviations become, the more subtle dysfunction becomes.
Sure.
This is why I didn't pick up on the low back thing until you mentioned that your low back was hurting. It was so small that, and this is why the whole premise of what we do with 90-degree eccentric-isometrics is that if you go slow and controlled and lock in the movement with roughly 90 degrees angles and are very firm with full body tension, you enhance proprioception, that sense of feel, right? That's what we've talked about, that kinesthetic awareness, your body's ability to tune into your positioning. And as a result, you don't have to rely on a coach or an external force telling you if something's right. You can feel it, like you said. You know how to lock it in. You know how to dial it in. And you know, when you first start training, my eyes can sense more than what your body feels. Eventually that has to flip. For any athlete, it has to flip. You have to sense more than what I can see, or than what any naked eye can see. And that's what the whole 90-degree eccentric isometrics thing does, is it gets you to tune into your sensory feedback and proprioception to such a high level. You can tune into more than what I can tell you. And I don't give you as much coaching or cueing. We had the therapist or physical therapist come in the other day, and I think they were kind of surprised, like, how little cueing I was giving you. Like, I'm not going to give you cueing if you're locked on your own. That's going to be a distraction. I'm going to let you find it.
Yeah, like you said, it's I think it's experience too, like knowing your body. And I kind of ties into a little bit what happened this year with baseball. It's like sometimes you can't really rely on, you know, your hitting coaches or whatever to fix these adjustments. So this year I felt that I was really good at making adjustments on the fly, especially in the baseball aspect. So I'll credit a little bit of that to you, and you know, just learning your body over time is you know, you work out, you hit, you throw, but the proprioception, I don't know.
Proprioception, sense of feel.
Sense of feel.
Sure.
So
that's all it is.
That's a good point, because the better your sense of feel is when it comes to your activation, when it comes to locking in your form, in terms of, you know, the movement patterns and the strength training, that's going to translate, doesn't matter who you are, into whatever other activity you're going to do, especially for athletes like you. So then that's going to play into your swing, your running, your throwing form, however it is. You're going to have a better sense of feel from the previous stuff you've done in your training, which is going to carry over to what you do in baseball, which is great.
No, that's a great point. Actually, that's something else I wanted to kind of talk about, was what you were just saying. It's kind of like, we don't train athletes very sport specific. We train you to be human specific. We train you to have optimal body mechanics. And that's not to say we don't do a few baseball specific things. Like we did some, you know, we do like those rotational eccentric isometrics like we did today with the cable. We do a few oblique slings things, which, but those are, again, kind of fundamental movement patterns. But we don't spend an enormous amount of time doing sport-specific or baseball-specific things. You get plenty of baseball-specific training, playing your sport and practicing your sport. I don't need to be your baseball coach. I need to be your strength coach and movement specialist that, you know, shows you or helps you lock in your form. And then, like you said, it's not even that just the strength transfers to any sport or any movement that you do. It's also the proprioception. That's a great point. I've never even really thought about it like that. Your sense of feel actually transfers into all other movements, so that
everything else you do.
Yes, exactly.
Whether you get in the car, whether you're sleeping, whatever you're doing, because we're human beings. We do other stuff than just the training, just playing baseball. You're doing other things like that, so you'll be able to tune into those.
Well, that's like even the walking. Like, you noticed that today without me having to say anything, because your sense of feel, your proprioception is heightened. I'm not having to constantly remind you. And if people train with large or deep range of motion, unfortunately they get something called, I don't want to get too detailed, but muscle spindle desensitization. Okay, that basically means your muscle spindles are the little feedback mechanisms that provide proprioception. Okay, those are the little units within our muscles. Well, if those things aren't firing like they need to, or they're not giving us our sense of feel, they're desensitized. They're not giving us what we need. And a lot of deep range of motion training, you get muscle spindle desensitization, because you've been training deep for so long. Your body gets used to basically shutting off that sensory feedback or not attending to sensory feedback and that sense of feel. So now you have less sense of feel, just like the good transfer transfers everything. Well, now we have bad transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have less sense of feel with everything. Mm-hmm. And so it just
creating bad habits.
People that are doing bad habits. I feel great doing it.
Yeah.
But it only lasts so long.
Exactly.
The
stretching.
Very temporary.
Exactly. It's like, that hip flexor stretch feels so good. It's like, well, you just altered how your muscle spindles are firing. Now you just changed all that proprioceptive feedback, and it's distorted. It's no longer accurate. You can't actually depend on it.
Chiropractor, all that stuff. Stretch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get into this too. How much foam rolling, stretching, corrective exercises, how much of that do you do?
0.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, during the season, I'll go through the team stretches and all that stuff. But once the off season hits, I mean, I do 0 stretching. Yeah. I mean, it's just all activation, getting those muscle fibers active and working. And
it's not that we're like, oh, Parker, don't stretch. Parker, like, do not do this.
Yeah.
We never tell athletes, like, don't do this or stay away from this.
Listen to your body.
Listen to your body.
Listen to your body. And
that's kind of.
I just want people to just try it for like a month, and I'm telling you, you will feel good.
Yeah. Well, it's because you don't stretch, you don't foam roll, not because we told you not to do it, but because you don't feel like you need to.
No, I mean, I can touch my toes, no problem. Yeah. I still have the flexibility.
Right.
It's not like I lost that, but.
Well, you better, man. You've been making some crazy plays during the season. Some of those diving catches, I mean, I think the audience would like, I recommend people going onto YouTube, just typing in your name, Parker Meadows, like diving catches or home run, where you've robbed home runs.
It's not that special. It's not that cool.
No, it's impressive. But the level of mobility you need for those, and the level of mobility even that you need for swinging, it's not like you've felt that's compromised. If anything, it's improved. And you don't emphasize stretching.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously throwing a baseball is pretty unnatural, but I feel like I don't even need to stretch for that. Unnatural movement, right? So
yeah, I mean, even our warm-ups, like we had the therapist come the other day, like I mentioned, and I think they were a little surprised, like your warm-up there almost was no warm-up. You just jumped right into the exercise essentially, but smartly. We're not testing fate here. We're not going to do something stupid.
We'll still ease into it.
Yeah, we start off on squats, 135, 225, 315, 405, but that's your warm-up. It's not like we need to do 15 minutes of stretches, foam roll for 10 minutes, do some corrective drills.
The time efficiency.
I mean, you train with me 3 hours a week. We got to make use of that time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these guys aren't even as consistent as you are. You're pretty dedicated. Some of these guys, 2 hours a week, it's like, man, we better make use of this time. We can't spend half that time babying their bodies because they're so, out of whack with their mechanics and giving them all these stretches that don't do anything.
And I would say, like, even with running too, it's like we don't go through a long warm up. I mean, we'll do a couple sets of our working sets, and then we'll go to the turf and do whether it's high knees or marches or just really locking in the form.
Literally 1 or 2 minutes.
It is for sure.
Yeah.
And then
it's pretty much off to the races. Like you're sprinting. Essentially, you could sprint cold turkey without warming up. And I always say this is something we talked about. If an athlete is healthy, if their body is functioning well, they should be able to sprint cold. They should be able to lift cold. They should be able to essentially hit the baseball. They should be able to hit a home run cold because that's actually what you have to do sometimes.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't always have.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So, this need for extensive warm-ups. Now, if you're training with poor body mechanics, you're training deep ass-to-grass squats, you're pushing excessive range of motion, you're training, I highly advise doing an extended warm-up because
but that's what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have that. They're not doing that.
Exactly.
So by default, they do those warm-ups, they do those stretches, they do things like that.
Exactly.
So it's interesting how it was mentioned, like, feel your body, listen to your body. But when you keep straining like that, you can't really listen to your body like you were saying as well as you can. Get up and desensitized in your muscle spindles.
Exactly.
So then they fall back to those things to be able to get through the practice.
Yeah,
through the day, the month, the year. So.
For sure.
I mean, makes sense.
Also, because we were talking about the speed work and speed and agility, one thing I'm always, not always, but I mention it periodically on social media is that I don't do an insane amount of speed work. with my guys. We don't do an insane amount of speed work, even though your speed is very important and you have great speed, you have great power. The majority of your speed foundation comes from mastering the big 7 movements, right? Like the squat, the hinge, the lunge, the horizontal push and pull, the vertical push and pull, like, you know, pull-ups, presses. You master those. This is for any athlete, not just you, but you master those. You have created this incredible foundation that you can build power off of, and not even just build power off of, that you've actually created good power and speed, and then you just have to do a little bit of speed training, a little bit of power training to get that transfer over. It does not take this excessive amount of volume of speed training where you're doing speed training another 3 hours a week plus the 3 hours of training. Now you feel overtrained and beat up. Our speed training today, I think, was like 8 minutes, like no joke. It was literally 8 minutes. At most, we'll go 10 minutes on that, sometimes 5.
And it's funny too. Like every year I've played is like I always feel like I'm getting faster.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So it's
that's because you're mastering your body mechanics to another level every off season. Literally, that is the one constant thing that I can say for all my athletes, especially you, that we've seen. It's like first year we trained, body mechanics greatly improved, but guess what? Next year they improved more. And guess what? The year after that they improved more. If you looked at your body mechanics 2 or 3 years ago, you would be like, oh man, I can't believe I was like, my core wasn't as locked in. Small things. And part of that is even me as a coach. Like I'm always saying that I'm still learning. I'm still getting better at fine-tuning, not just my own body, but fine-tuning athletes. I mean, you can't be beyond correction or beyond learning. You have to. And I think as I've gotten better at understanding the body, just with training more and understanding my body, my athletes, it shows up with the athletes actually getting better results because they know how to tune into those things as well.
Getting better results.
Yeah.
You had a great season. It seems like, continue to improve and progress.
Right.
Well, the oblique slings thing too, we were talking about this, and we've taught you understand kind of what the oblique slings thing is. It's basically this X firing pattern on your body, and basically any rotational sport, whether it's hitting, throwing, swinging, your opposite shoulder coils into your opposite hip. And we started incorporating a little bit more of that, like in your lunges, for example, and it's not like you're having this massive rotation on your exercises, but just understanding that you have to slightly coil into that hip, that front leg, just because I started to see more research on this several years ago, and so guess what? It's like, hey, we need to actually get this incorporated more into the training. It's not like the training was off before, but we're trying to get it even better, because it's like, you can't just settle for, hey, it's working, let's keep it like that. It's like, no, let's see if we can improve upon it. Let's see if we can make it better. And I think the oblique sling stuff, for you,
I love it. Yeah, obliques are very, very important
for sure.
In base, or a lot of sports, but baseball specifically.
Yeah. Even your running though, right? You can feel like the cross effect. People, humans are not meant to run with this robot where the arms don't cross over. You actually want the arms to cross into the hip, and it's subtle. It's not like some people get carried away with this and they think, oh man, you got to really rotate your body to the point where they let their posture go. Right. You lock your posture in and you lock your core in, and the body will actually naturally find that very slight spiraling, that slight coil in that oblique sling. And that's the feet, like literally one of the big adjustments we made a few years ago. I said, hey Parker, there's a little bit more research and science coming out about this oblique slings concept. I explained to you and basically said, hey, let's keep everything the same on the lunge, like what we've been doing, but point your toes in and push your heels out just a little bit more, and let yourself kind of find that front hip by pulling that back adductor or that back knee inward. Small changes. I mean, some of these things are, I wouldn't say they're imperceptible to the naked eye, but it's pretty subtle, and that's all we're talking about here. But those small things made a big difference. You feel it, right? I mean,
feel it 100%. Like I said earlier, I walk out of the gym feeling good. My body feels good. So yeah, man, credit to you guys. I mean, you guys know what you're talking about, and it's been a blessing being able to come in and work hard with you guys by my side. So
yeah, I mean, you're we like training guys like you because you're dedicated. We get some athletes. I wouldn't say we get a lot of athletes that aren't dedicated, but some athletes they can be a little bit more hit or miss. You're probably one of the most consistent. I mean, you don't miss workouts. I mean, unless
I'll mention this too. Is like towards the end of the baseball year. I mean, there's 162 games in a year,
right,
plus spring training. So more like 190
game every day.
Yeah. So I mean,
sometimes too, right? You guys have.
Sometimes with rainouts. I mean, and we went to the playoffs this year. So really, 200 games. I mean, towards the end of the year, we talked about this. It's really hard to find that motivation of getting in the weight room and working out and all that stuff. So like towards the end of the year, I actually look forward to coming into GSP and make just my body feels so much better when I'm consistently working out. And that's something that I could get better at, especially during the season. Obviously, it's so hard because you have that wear and tear on your body. You're playing 190 games in a season. But just to lock in on the activation and my form and et cetera.
Well, I mean, this is interesting because we've talked about this too with especially with football athletes. You see a lot of pro football athletes, and I see this a lot with guys that come in where they really dislike strength training at first, and they almost dread it because they associate strength training with their bodies feeling beat up with kind of what you used to feel, and so it's like, man, they don't look forward to it until we change their training style. Then it's like, man, they look forward to it. They want to do it because they know how much better their body's going to feel. And so, like you were saying, it's just, people need to try this because even just a workout or two, you can feel like, ooh, man, some of that inflammation is already starting to go down. My body is more locked in.
Telling the viewers at home, you guys got to try it, man. Try that 90 degrees. Just it works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can try to convince people all day, but at the end of the day, you have to try. Like you said, you just, you can't rip something you've never tried. And this is you try different training methods. I've tried. I've mentioned on other podcasts and on here and other videos how I went through hundreds of training methods. I didn't just try a few and no, I tried Astagrass and it destroyed me and destroyed you, and it's destroyed a lot of athletes. I've never had a single scenario, whether it's with athletes I've trained or literally thousands of people across the world who use these methods. I've never had anyone say they injured themselves with 90 degrees or didn't feel better with this training method. So
I'll talk about that too, with like kind of tied into baseball. Is like if you look at catchers, right? I mean, catchers obviously are unbelievable athletes and their dedication is on a different level. But you look, I mean, they're ass to grass for 9 innings every day, and then you look 20 years down the road, and it's almost like all of them have
knee issues,
and problems.
This is
it makes sense.
This is such a great point. Ben Lai and I were discussing this. Ben's getting his PhD in kinesiology, and he brought this up to me a few years ago because there's a concept in the fitness industry that it goes something like this. Basically, it's all about tissue adaptation, which is there is a mild amount of tissue adaptation. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but the level that is suggested that it's garbage. Okay, it's not true. It's basically this. It's that your body can adapt to whatever stimulus you give it as long as it just has the time and you do it smart with programming. Your tissues can handle whatever. If your joints hurt, you just didn't program it right. The perfect example of that being false is baseball catchers, because these guys have had the perfect amount of adaptation time. I mean, they've been doing it since they were kids. They've built up intensity to it. If anything, they should have the most bulletproof joints and knees, according to this flawed theory of this false tissue adaptation model, but they don't. Their knees are some of the worst. So, there is no this adaptation thing. If movement is faulty, your body can only adapt so much before it rebels. It's that simple. I don't care who you are, whether it's in ballet, they see this. These girls start training at 4 or 5 years old, gradually building into it. Guess what? Their bodies are destroyed. So this tissue adaptation model, it's BS. I don't know who started it. It's garbage.
And BS. They're probably not hurting themselves, when they're doing their own strength training with whoever they're doing. Yeah. For the most part, So they're probably thinking, if I'm sitting in the catcher spot for 9 innings, ass to grass, well then let me go in the weight room, do the squats, ass to grass deep. And
400 pounds on your back.
Put it in a basic term. You don't want to, if you're doing bad in terms of for your body, in terms of it's not therapeutic, it's tough on your body, such as a catcher.
Right.
Why go replicate that in the strength training with all that load on you? So it's that I love to tell you that, we've said it many times, but do good to set yourself up for when you do those harsh conditions.
Exactly.
Those tough, bad conditions.
Exactly.
Where people kind of do both. They do both kind of bad, and then it just snowballs.
It's like you were saying the other day. It's almost
discomfort.
like the people who are in these more extreme ranges of motion, it's even more important that they do the 90-degree thing because they need those. They have the therapeutic. They need their body to feel good so that when they do get in those tough positions, it doesn't break down.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an interesting, great point you made about the catchers. I mean, you see that firsthand. I want to talk a little bit about just briefly your activation, because this is something we have addressed a little bit. You know, usually when we talk about working out, we're talking about, you know, what we do in the weight room, but this concept of daily activation and just kind of doing your homework for 5-10 minutes a day or more as needed. Talk about how daily activation has been important for you. Like, I mean, you do a lot of it. Not a lot of it, but you've been consistent with it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think that's huge for me, especially during this season. You know, it prepares my body.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I could go out. I mean, there's a lot of guys that go out and stretch for 10, 15 minutes, but I could literally do activation for 5 minutes before I go do something and probably feel a lot better than those guys who just stretched.
Right.
I mean, they're most likely overstretching these muscles. And, so activation has been a huge part of my career. It's allowed me to stay on the field. It's always full body. You know, I like getting the hammies going. I like, you know, getting the back going, shoulders. So
let me also just explain real quickly so the audience understands what activation means. It's literally the exact same movements that we do. It's the big seven. It's with 90-degree eccentric-isometrics. So when you say activation, you're basically doing some type of 90-degree eccentric-isometric squat, a 90-degree EI hinge, like single leg or double leg. That's if your hamstrings feel it. You're doing a 90-degree EI Bulgarian squat or lunge to stretch the hip flexors, right? You're doing some type of like row 90 degrees to help with the shoulders, or maybe an overhead press the shoulders. Sometimes it's just body weight or with super lightweight or bands. But just doing a few of those, like 3 really good intense reps, I mean, you can feel like things release in your body. It's like, wow, I just did a few minutes of activation. My body's ready to go now. So it's not like the activation is this fancy, ornate kind of protocol. It's just simply.
It's also time efficient.
Yeah, it's time efficient. Exactly.
Very.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, you could go do it for 5 minutes, and then you have guys stretching for 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm ready to go. Let's get going here. I mean, my body is activated. My muscle fibers are firing. I feel good, and I'm ready to go.
And it also loosens things up that may have gotten slightly out of whack or out of sorts from maybe the previous game. Maybe something got a little tweaked instead of like, I got to go get treatment. It's like, man, do a few holds with the 90-degree EIs, and then it's like, wow, things loosen up. I feel good now.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, like, don't worry so much about stretching or like going to a chiropractor. Now there are scenarios where I understand that you know those could be valid, but do some deep or intense activation with 90 degrees, and it's amazing. Even to this day, for my body, if I don't stay on top of that, I can feel things like getting a little tight or stiff.
Yeah, and it's like if you were to, you know, say you had a hamstring injury, you don't want to go out and stretch that hamstring.
It's going to make it worse.
A lot of that rehab is, especially in a professional team's training room, is activating your muscles, which is what a lot of people don't realize. You don't want to continue to stretch that muscle because it's already overstretched. So you're activating the muscles around it.
And you're restoring what we've talked about. It's called the length-tension relationship. The muscles are overly lengthened. Not only are they not producing as much power, but they're in a position where they could pull. They could strain. So the 90-degree EIs, they restore the fibers back to their optimal length. So now they can do whatever they need to, whether it's run, jump, hit. And,
you know, just like I was saying earlier, you're a human being, too. You do other stuff. And you said you had, 200 games a year, roughly? How many times you sit in a plane? You're sitting in these tight, crammed spots. Traveling. Like, you need to activate for that. You need to be prepared to do stuff like that. Because if you're not, it's going to snowball. And then it's going to make, when you get off the plane, you get off the bus to the stadium and you go play, it's just going to make what you have to do before the game that much longer, that much more difficult. So it just plays in all the other small things you do.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
I want to quickly address foot mechanics and barefoot training because that's something that I'm known for, and it's something that I believe is really important for every athlete. It's been big for you. We've seen huge improvements in your foot mechanics, your toe splay in terms of how spread they are, but also your foot and ankle stability, how you're able to torque into the ground. And every workout, we go barefoot or the Vivo barefoot shoes because I mean, you can feel it, right? You can feel your feet really grip into the floor.
100%. I think when we first started, I was kind of off balance, out of whack. But when we started doing this, I think when we first started training, I was completely barefoot. So it just helps create that natural arc, right?
Exactly. The arch in the foot gets it to pop because yours was flat. It wasn't
So
pop.
I mean, and if you think about it, when your feet are spread more, you have more balance, and you're going to be more explosive too, right? Exactly. I mean, you're not going to be explosive if you're on the edge of your feet.
Your feet are collapsing.
Right. So
that's like you said, that your feet are they can be like springs instead of collapsing.
Yeah, so that's been huge for me. I mean, the foot and ankle strength, especially in the baseball world, I think in any sport, is extremely important. And we've been on top of that since day one.
Been on top of that, and not just in your weight room training, but even for your sprinting and your speed work, your jumping and walking. Even your this is a lot of people have a tough time understanding how this could even be possible, but we do sometimes sprints with literally like 3 or 4 inch soled Vivo barefoot shoes, which is basically on concrete, right? And as fast as speed as you can, and your body can handle it because your feet are like shock absorbers. The muscles in your feet are like shock absorbers, and they're turned on. They're turned on maximally, so that when you actually now go play baseball and have your cleats on, you feel like you have a bonus advantage of like, man, not only do I have the bonus of my feet doing what they can do and absorbing force and creating that spring-like coiled sensation in the ground. Now I have extra support from the shoe, but too much support from that shoe. If you do that without the barefoot training, the muscles shut off, and then you don't have that extra edge.
Especially in the season when you're in a baseball season, you're wearing 4 or 5 different pairs of shoe a day. I mean, you're going in wearing your shoes that you wear to the field, and then you're changing into your turfs that you hit in, and then you're changing into your shower shoes, flip-flops, and then you're changing in the cleats.
4 or 5 shoes in my life.
I mean, it's a lot, man. So that stuff is so
point.
important for someone like me,
for sure.
Just really focusing on that foot and ankle strength. It's huge.
But also I think the big thing is that during the foundational movements, again, it always goes back to foundational movements, the 90 degrees, the squats, the hinge, the lunge. We don't even have to do a whole lot of foot exercises anymore. We simply make sure your feet are firing well on the basic movements. Now, in the beginning of the training, we did have to do more foot-specific drills to wake them up, and now they're woken up. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I would always have issues with my right foot kind of wanted to externally rotate and just screwing that big toe down. Both feet fires the whole foot.
Exactly. Absolutely. Got a few more specific questions here. One is this concept in baseball, and particularly with strength coaches in the baseball setting, often don't recommend or shy away from overhead presses for baseball players, just because there's a lot of repetitive overhead motion. Pitchers, but even you're an outfielder. You do a lot of throwing. Okay. Yeah. We still program overhead presses, and I program overhead presses for every athlete, whether it's a quarterback, whether it's a outfielder, whoever it is. Discuss just briefly like the effects you have felt from overhead presses, because it is one of our big movement patterns, and I've never seen it not be therapeutic if it's done correctly.
Yeah, I'll just shoot you straight. Like since we've been training, I've never had shoulder issues, and I throw a baseball for a living. Yeah. So that is huge for me, just the strength in the shoulder, building those muscles around the upper back. Yeah. That has played a huge part of my career. Oh yeah. Big time, no question.
Oh yeah. 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 No, because and especially I think there's some research on this showing that shoulder. It's not just shoulder. I think it's even they're saying all injuries now, or all types of dysfunction in like joint issues, whether it's hip, whether it's shoulder, knee, it's actually somewhat genetic. And I know your brother struggled with that a little bit. You struggled with that a little bit early on, and you could see it in the posture starting to come up. And some of these are inherent and genetically, things that are passed down from parents. Just, some people have different types of posture. Some of it's environmental, but there is no doubt that genes do play a role. So I think especially for a tall athlete like you, making sure the posture and back is strong, those shoulders are pulled down and back. That's it's critical because you do so much repetitive motion with the shoulder. If that's not happening, then it's you're gonna be feeling it for sure. Also, something that I believe it was just this year, something we've talked about a lot recently is the breathing. I got more into this the last year. I got some these new books that are coming out that I dived a bit deeper into this topic of proper breathing patterns and breathing mechanics and actually how it relates to posture. I don't want to get too scientific with this, but besides the extra oxygenation to the tissues, okay, that they say nasal breathing helps with, and that's what we've been focusing on, nasal breathing versus mouth breathing. It also helps keep you more parasympathetic dominant, which means you're more calm, rather than sympathetic dominant, meaning that you're too fight or flight or anxious, which for any sport, especially baseball, you want to be calm with controlled aggression. And the nasal breathing helps with that. It helps filter particles, so you basically can stay healthier with your immune system. But for me, one of the big things with the breathing, with the nasal breathing, is that in order to make nasal breathing happen, especially when you're strength training or training intensely, the only way it can happen is with good posture. It actually works hand in hand. This is what the research points to, is that jaw activation of having to seal the mouth shut tightly. It literally creates this downward trickle effect into your lats, into your hips, and now, like, okay, all that posture tips and cues that we've been working on, it brings it together. It basically kind of like it's like a puzzle. It all comes together even more crisply. And I think we've seen that with you, even the core activation, because the research also discusses that. Do you feel like the nasal breathing, because this is a relatively new thing that we implemented, a month ago?
So, we're diving into it a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like I could definitely do better at it.
It's a process.
It's a process. Sometimes it's hard when when you're running sprints or whatever. But
you're getting better at it though.
Yeah.
A lot better.
No. Yeah. I think it definitely helps with posture. And it also helps, like you said, it helps calm you.
Exactly.
I don't know what the science is, but you don't want to release more air than what you're taking in.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's called the Bohr effect. If you actually release too much air, your body's going to require you to actually gasp for extra oxygen, and then it continues.
Energy.
Yeah.
And then our lifts, we were talking about, it's going to play an energy.
Energy leaks.
To prevent those
Exactly.
energy
leaks. Exactly. No, exactly. Those big mouth breaths. Energy leak right in here, and that's going to trickle down, like you just said. That's the energy leaks. When you seal the mouth shut, you have no energy leaks. It creates maximal stiffness and posture alignment. So you're getting better at that. Honestly, it's a work in progress, even for me. And I've been doing it for like a year and a half now. You've been doing it for close to a year now. You're getting better and better. This is the thing with body mechanics and mastering your movement. No one has mastered their movement. I have not mastered my movement. I'll never master my movement, but I'm getting closer to mastering my movement, and it's going to continue to improve, God willing, till the day I die. And that's the goal for every athlete. You're never going to hit perfection because we're human, and so the goal is just get closer to that. And I think that's what we're trying to do. A few more things just to wrap up here. This goes back to it's something I don't even think I've ever addressed in a social media post or any of my books.
Gosh.
Yeah. But, it goes back to when the physical therapist came in the other day to watch you. And this was what sparked me wanting to address this. I have a lot of people in this industry saying that I am a fear mongerer and that I promote more fear in this industry than anyone, and that it's a horrible thing, and that I'm literally responsible for people not exercising. And here's what I mean by that. They say, because I'm always saying, hey, you don't want to be overstretching. You don't want to use excessive range of motion. If you're training past 90 degrees, you're setting yourself up for injury. What they would say is that I'm fear-mongering and that, it's hurting the industry, hurting people from not wanting to train.
They want you to buy your stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're just trying to push
exactly. And I always say it's the opposite of fear-mongering, because you mentioned this to the physical therapist yesterday. Basically, when something goes wrong in your body, you start to feel pain. You don't get worried about it now.
Yeah.
You don't have fear because you know the methods actually can fix your body like that.
100%. That's why, I mean, early on, I used to panic a little bit when I felt something off. But now I've learned over time is like, if I feel something, it's almost better to come see you and do the workouts that we're doing. Work through it.
Fix it. It's your
that's
body
what fixes
wrong.
it for me.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
That's just mind blowing to me that people actually think.
Well, to me, training correctly is the most empowering thing you can do to eliminate fear in your body and fear of movement, because now, like you said, you feel so confident that if you move correctly, your body's going to take care of itself. The pain is going to dissipate. You're not going to have to worry about injuries. And if you do feel pain, it's almost like, oh, cool, my body's telling me I need to fix something. That means I'm going to get better. This just created an opportunity for me to enhance my body mechanics, not for fear. So I would say that the optimal training that we promote, it's literally eliminating fear, not fear.
Yeah, there's no fear ever.
Yeah.
I think one of the key word and everything you said that was great is correctly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes, it has to be done correctly.
And we were talking about at the
Has
very
to,
beginning.
has to.
People will go do it, but are they doing it correctly?
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
if they're not doing it correctly, they're not going to feel good.
Oh, yeah.
So they go divert into all the other stuff.
Absolutely.
So I
Right.
think it's
Dude, I'll tell you this
very-
right now.
very
I
important to
had a
understand.
several-year period in my life, in my late 20s, mid-late 20s, I feared barbell squats. I feared barbell squats
Oh, I did
because
too. I
the
did too.
damage that it
Early
did
high
to
school,
me.
I did too.
Yeah, like it was like, man, I would literally get nervous before a barbell
It
squat.
was the weekend we had, squats and stuff on Monday, lower body, and I was like, oh man, my back's gonna start hurting.
Ass
to
Here we go.
grass, yeah.
Yeah,
Just get through
exactly.
this,
Exactly. And I'd be so thrilled on days it's like, oh, I walked away unscathed. It's like, no, that's fear mongering. That is instilling fear in people. You want people to quit exercising, train deep, get injured, and then have to worry about getting injured every time you go into the gym. That's going to instill
and
fear.
I remember the other day, we put a lot of weight on the bar, the squat rack.
The 405 squat.
Right, and doing it sucks, but when you rack that bar and you walk away from the rack,
Yeah.
I feel so good.
Oh, yeah.
My body feels good.
Yeah, those squats you do with 405, I don't think I've seen a tall athlete hit 405 that easily with that type of bar speed. Maybe
The bar speed.
Dude,
I've
the
seen
bar
you do
speed was
squats
crazy.
in all your lifts, but
Yeah.
the speed and the power
Yeah.
that you have in your stuff, especially with your long limbs and your
Yeah.
stature. It's
I feel
very-
I feel strong right now. I think my diet's been locked in and I've leaned out a little bit, but I feel really good right now. I can't complain.
Yeah, no, I think in our history of working together, it's the best you've looked. It's the strongest you've been. It's also the leanest you've been. We've been working on the diet a little bit, and but also even the walking. Talk briefly
man.
about that, because a lot of people underplay or undervalue the importance of walking. We're humans. We are meant to walk. Talk about that.
Walking has completely changed my life, honestly. Just after a big meal, think about it. You sit on the couch after a big meal,
Yeah.
and you just feel
Oh yeah, you feel sluggish.
you feel sluggish and terrible. But if you go walk for 15 minutes, all that goes away. The fullness goes away. You digest way
better,
easier. But that has changed my life. I was telling Joel today, we were running sprints today out on the turf, and I said, dude, honestly, I feel like I am in the best shape I have ever been in. I've been on top of my walking, on top of my activation. I walk 15 minutes after every meal I have, and it's helping me lean out.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, I don't have to go on the treadmill for 30 minutes or the elliptical with two winter jackets.
Got that first base on base.
man, that's funny.
But no, I said, I don't have to do this, man. The walking has just completely changed my life, and not only my physique, but my mental health as
Yeah.
well. I think that is huge. Just getting outside, walking 15 minutes a day, maybe getting some sunlight.
Yeah.
That stuff goes a long way.
Absolutely. For athletes, they always think about their workouts, but it's you got to think about health, because a healthy athlete, a healthy body is going to perform better.
Best,
it just
yeah.
is. You're going to be able to gain more muscle. You're going to be more explosive. You're going to feel better. Recovery is going to be better. And walking has been shown to help all that. So I think all humans, whether you're an athlete, whether you're 20, whether you're 80, we all need to walk more. I think that
And
even though
especially in a
Yes.
sport like baseball, where
Yeah.
you got to stay on your technique and your alignment, maybe a little bit more than maybe some other stuff, although you definitely have to with the others. But as humans, I tell a lot of my clients this: how often do you walk throughout the day?
Correctly.
All the time.
Walk
so
correctly.
if you're walking incorrectly all the time,
You're right.
it's just going to creep into the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were saying this too. The walking actually gives you a chance to work on your posture and your body mechanics
Yes.
further.
My foot activation,
Exactly.
all
Your
that stuff.
pelvis, your core, your head position. Head position's been a big thing for you too, getting that nice and retracting. You've done an awesome job of that. Yeah, we covered a lot. I think maybe the last thing, if you could just address this. You're 25. You're kind of in the beginning, middle segment or portion of your career, honestly, I see you potentially playing into your late 30s with the way.
That'd be nice.
I mean,
nice.
I don't see why not. I mean, it happens in baseball. Most sports it doesn't, but for baseball, if you stay healthy and you have the God-given talent, and seeing the progress you've made, I don't see why it couldn't happen. But you got a lot of mileage left in your body, and also I think a lot of people can look at what you're doing as like a good template to follow, because it's just been this very consistent process. So if you got any advice maybe for other athletes that, pro athletes, college athletes, young adolescent athletes, whatever, any like last keywords? I know we've covered a lot and you've given a lot of insight here, but
yeah, I think you mentioned it earlier with just dedication.
Yeah.
You really, if you love what you do, you're gonna love what you put into what you do, right? You're gonna love everything outside of what you do. The process, right? So I really just fell in love with just trying to get better every day, in the off season especially. And one thing I didn't know until 3-4 years ago is like your diet is huge.
We're gonna have to talk more about diet in the future for sure.
Diet has been huge for me. It's allowed me to stay on the field. Obviously in the major leagues, it's a lot easier to have a good diet. In the minors, you're eating on the road and all that stuff. But diet has helped me a lot, and the technique of my form has.
That's key.
Like I just want to tell everyone at home, just try it. Just try it for a month, 2 months, and I promise you will feel changes. You will feel good. So just be dedicated to your craft, and if you love it, you're gonna like I said, love what you put into it. So
nice.
Blessed with a good family, people around me.
About to get married soon, right?
About to get married soon.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. Very cool. New season of your life, and it's cool to see what's happening with you on the professional side of things, but also on the personal. It's been cool to watch.
Oh yeah, and another thing about advice. Trust the process.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, life is a process. There's going to be ups and downs through life. There's going to be ups and downs through your job, through your sport. You just always keep that confidence of, in the end, everything will turn out in the end, right? And this is when, you got to trust in God's plan.
Yes, absolutely.
He has a plan for you.
Yes.
Just trust it.
Yes.
It's going to be hard. He's going to give you obstacles. He's going to give you these hamstring injuries. He's going to give you this stressful day at work. But I try to tell people all the time that it'll always work in the end.
Yeah, dude, I feel like you've done a great job of that, because it's the process of going rookie ball, single A, double A, triple A. Like I can tell your faith got you through it for sure.
Yeah,
the training was important, but honestly, your faith and God's hand on you, that's the most important thing.
Just very blessed. That's
awesome.
what it just narrows down to. Just
for sure,
so
man.
Blessed.
Dude, that was awesome. It was great to have you on here. I think hopefully the audience, you guys got a lot out of that. So if you want to find out more about Parker, look him up, man. I mean, he's got tons of highlight clips now, grand slam, all kinds of stolen bases, all kinds of great catches, diving catches. But so like you said, give things a try. Give the 90-degree eccentric-isometrics a try. Look them up, check them out, follow them in this next upcoming season. And that was it. Awesome. Thanks, man.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah, thank you.
Hey guys, I'm excited to announce that my brand new book, Movement Redefined Fundamentals, is out, and it's completely free. It's on my website, advancedhumanperformance.com, and it gives all the details of the 90-degree eccentric-isometrics protocol, and it just gives all the fundamentals that you need to maximize your strength training and gain as much muscle as possible, as well as optimizing your joint health. So check it out. Again, it's completely free.